If you feel like it's getting harder and harder to afford things, you are certainly not alone. Over the past 5 years, salaries have continued to lag behind inflation in almost all fields of work. Experts say it's an issue that isn't going away. Now, some of the jobs that are being hit the hardest over the next 4 years, according to this data, elementary school teachers and accountants, both potentially seeing an over 10% drop in projected salary by 2028 when you adjust it for inflation. Other jobs being hit hard include administrative assistants, registered nurses, and general maintenance workers. This is according to MoneyWise. Here to talk more about this and how this is impacting people, University of Maryland economics professor emeritus Peter Morici. It is good to see you, Professor. Tell me about this issue. Why aren't salaries keeping pace with inflation?
Well, essentially, the government is and the Republicans are as responsible for this as the Democrats, because they voted for the CHIPS Act, for example. They voted for the infrastructure package. These initiatives, for the most part, have not been financed by taxes, but rather the deficit has increased from about 3.1% when this study began to now 6.5%, the federal deficit. And to do that, essentially, the Federal Reserve has printed a lot of money, which it used to buy these bonds and put into circulation. Not all these bonds were purchased by the general public or foreign investors. When that happens, you get a lot of inflation. It's another way of paying for things. Instead of paying for these new initiatives like building semiconductor factories and chips factories with taxes, we paid for it with inflation. Now, some people do very well in this context. For example, the people that work in these factories. Or the people that build them. But the people that live across the street or down the road who work in something else, it's pretty stark. So if you look at real wages since Joe Biden became president, I looked at that this morning for a piece I'm writing, they're down about 3.5%. That's not remarkable. I mean, that's not a huge amount, but there's a very large dispersion, and that's what's particularly troublesome. Also, I'd point out that some of these projections I wouldn't count on coming true. Accountants are in very short supply. I expect their incomes to rise quite a bit.
Okay, so you disagree with the accountants. What about wait staff, retail sales workers, food preparation workers, some of these other individuals we're seeing, customer sales representatives? I mean, let's not even talk about how AI is going to impact a lot of these positions. But do any of these jobs surprise you that they'll be hit the hardest in the next few years?
No, and AI is not going to, it's not AI that's going to hit these jobs. For example, a computer can't change sheets and it can't make a sandwich.
Yeah, but a customer sales rep, I think an AI chatbot is going to go so fast.
That's different. But right now, there's sort of a bit of hysteria out there that we're all going to be afraid of AI about every little thing. The country was once more than half farmers. We mechanized agriculture. We became more prosperous, and we found new jobs. But in some of these other things, it doesn't surprise me. We are adding to the labor force quite substantially with new immigration. That's how we kept growing last year, even though we were at full employment. That does have the effect of suppressing wages in areas that don't require a lot of training. And so food preparation workers, you can train people to work at McDonald's in a few days. Food preparation, chefs get a lot of training, but a lot of the people that work beneath them don't. So it doesn't surprise me. We are becoming a more bifurcated economy where if you've got the right skills, not necessarily a college education, but if you've got the right skills, you can make a lot of money. And if you don't have the right skills, you don't do very well at all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you know what? I misspoke when we were looking at these jobs, wait staff, food prep, retail, and customer service. These are the jobs forecasted to actually retain a lot of their salaries amid inflation compared to the RNs and the accountants. That's interesting to me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.